The time is 8:45 p.m. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. Here is the news edited by Lal Malavarachi and read by Tilani Pires. The government stresses that the Colombo Port City Economic Commission Bill could be passed in Parliament with a simple majority. The Prime Minister instructs the authorities to grant housing loans to low-income families. 1,734 persons have tested positive for coronavirus today, increasing the total caseload thus far to 146,936. A group was arrested for commemorating the LTTE in the Calcutta beach. 185,000 more Sputnik V vaccines are to be brought to the country next week. And on foreign news, Israel shuts crossings for Gaza aid after attacks. Minister Kaylee Rambukwala said the government has agreed with all the determinations and amendments of the Supreme Court with regard to the Colombo Port City Economic Commission Bill. Therefore, the minister added it could be passed in Parliament with a simple majority. Meanwhile, Minister Professor G.L. Pires says that some groups are spreading false rumours that the Port City Bill needs to be passed by two-thirds majority. The determinations of the Supreme Court were presented to Parliament today by Speaker Mahinda Yapa. The court had found that several clauses of the bill were inconsistent with the Constitution. However, the Supreme Court determined that these clauses can either be amended or passed in Parliament with a special majority or in a referendum. In its 62-page determination on the bill, the Supreme Court had also included how the concerning clauses can be amended. Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa instructs the authorities to grant housing loans to low-income families participating at the Ministerial Committee meeting of the Ministry of Housing at the Parliament premises today. The Premier gave this instruction. Considering many proposals presented by parliamentarians, the Prime Minister ordered the relevant officials to plan housing schemes to replace shanties still existing in some urban areas. The Minister of Health reports that another 1,734 persons have tested positive for coronavirus today. This brings the total number of COVID-19 cases confirmed in the country thus far to 146,936. Presently, 24,810 infected patients are being treated at hospitals and treatment centres across the island. Meanwhile, the number of total recoveries has reached 121,145. The total number of deaths due to COVID-19 infection in Sri Lanka has risen to 981. This news broadcast comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.
Now, EPF information and services through an SMS from HDFC Bank.
The police have arrested a group of individuals who held an LTT commemoration at the Kiran Beach in Calcutta today. Accordingly, 9 individuals have been arrested and would be detained for 3 days under the Prevention of the Terrorism Act. The leader of the arrested group has been identified as a 38-year-old male who runs a non-governmental organization, NGO. Reportedly, the group had made a floral tribute to the sea following the commemoration. Meanwhile, Northern Province DIG Sanjeeva Dharmaratna says that no one will be allowed to promote the LTTE by commemorating its former leaders. He said that police and security forces have received information that certain groups are preparing to conduct LTT commemorative ceremonies. Accordingly, police and security forces have launched special operations to find those who commemorate the LTTE in the Northern Province. That ends local news for now.
දැන් HDFC බැංකුවෙන් EPF ණයතොරතුරු හා සේවාවන් SMS එකකින්
රාජ්‍ය හා පෞද්ගලිකංශයේ රැකියාවේ නියුතු ඔබ කොහේ සිටියත් EPF ණයතොරතුරු හා සේවාවන් ලබා ගැනීම සඳහා කළ යුත්තේ EPF හිස්තැනක් නම හා ප්‍රදේශය සඳහන් කර 071 800 999ට SMS එකක් එවීම පමණයි.
HDFC බැංකුව ඔබ අප සුරකින්න බැංකුව.
A mother knows the pain of each member of the family. Siddhalepa, the trusted relief for aches and pains.
An effective therapy for relief from cold, sneezing, flu, headaches, swelling due to toothaches, rheumatic, discomforts, and muscular aches and pains. Siddhalepa, the Vidya Mahatmya in every home.
story is brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
The State Minister of Production, Supply and Regulation of Pharmaceuticals, Professor Channa Jasumana, says that the next consignment of the Sputnik V coronavirus vaccines will arrive in Sri Lanka on the 25th of May. Thereby, Sri Lanka will be receiving 185,000 doses of the Russia-made COVID-19 jab next week. Sri Lanka received the first batch of the Sputnik V vaccine containing 15,000 doses purchased from Russia on the 4th of this month. As per the epidemiology unit's report on the progress of COVID-19 immunization, Sri Lanka has rolled out the Sputnik V jabs among 14,699 people so far. That was the main news story.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya. Brush your teeth twice a day for healthy teeth and gums. Supiriviki and Kakulu, your trusted brands in oral care for many years.
Supiriviki Ayurvedic toothpaste for adults. Kakulu Ayurvedic toothpaste for kids. 9 Ayurvedic ingredients of Supiriviki will protect your teeth and strengthen your gums. Supiriviki and Kakulu, products from Siddhalepa.
And on Watchlight tonight, the government has declared Monday, May 24th and Tuesday, May 25th as special government holidays. The Ministry of Public Services, Provincial Councils and Local Government has informed. Public Services, Provincial Councils and Local Government Ministry Secretary J.J. Ratnasari said the decision was taken to facilitate the people during the travel restrictions imposed by the government to control the spreading of COVID-19. However, the special holiday does not apply to the bank and mercantile sectors. That came to you in Watchlight. Moving on with world news and the headlines first. Israel shuts crossings for Gaza aid after attacks. Migrants reach Spain's Ceuta enclave in record numbers. Rising Amazon rivers flood COVID-hit areas in Brazil. Israel has closed the Kerem, Shalom and Erez crossings into Gaza just hours after opening them to allow humanitarian aid. It said it closed the crossings in response to a barrage of mortar shells fired by Palestinian militants into southern Israel, including at both the crossings into Gaza. Jens Laiki, a spokesman for the UN Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs, OCHA, said it was critical that aid workers were able to get into Gaza. At least 6,000 migrants have reached Spain's Ceuta enclave from neighboring Morocco, a record number over a single day, Spanish officials say. They say that the migrants, who include about 1,500 minors, either swam around the border fences that jut out into the sea or walked across at low tide. They are said to be mostly from Morocco. Spain says it has already sent some 2,700 back, but not the minors. Spain's Ceuta and Melilla enclaves have become magnets for African migrants. Rivers in the Brazilian Amazon region have risen to near record levels after heavy rains, flooding small towns and threatening areas hit hard by COVID-19 with another disaster. In Amazonas state, 52 of the 62 towns and cities have areas underwater, and 25 have declared a state of emergency, including the capital, Manaus. About 410,000 people have been affected, according to the Civil Defense Service. In Manaus, the Negro River is at its third highest level since records began in 1920 at 29.72 meters, 97 feet, and Brazil's Geological Service expects the waters to reach 30.35 meters, exceeding the record flooding seen in 2012. Back to the world news headlines. Israel shuts crossings for Gaza aid after attacks. Migrants reach Spain's Ceuta enclave in record numbers. Rising Amazon rivers flood COVID-hit areas in Brazil. That ends world news. Moving on with development news, People's Bank has introduced a loan scheme called Sarabhumi to assist the government in its efforts for a poison-free country. The Sarabhumi loan facilities aim to support the state policy of increasing the production of locally manufactured pesticides, weedicides, and fertilizers. Under the scheme, loans will be provided for investments at concessionary interest rates. The loans will have a maximum repayment period of up to 10 years and a maximum repayment period of 3 years for working capital requirements. According to the criteria for applicants seeking loan benefits, fertilizer manufacturers should be in possession of the certificate obtained from the Office of the National Fertilizer Secretariat. Fertilizer manufacturers should have a technologically specialization in the manufacture of fertilizer, and all submitted projects should be economically and financially viable. This loan scheme is to motivate local fertilizer manufacturers to contribute more on national development. That came to you on Development News.
Sports News is brought to you by...
When Aya bought a motorbike, he bought 2 helmets. So sweet of him. I'm sure the other one is for me.
In whatever we do, we Sri Lankans are always thinking of others. When we get Munchie Super Cream Crackers, they're not just for ourselves. Munchie Super Cream Cracker. Super kiyanne nikan neve.
The chances of AB de Villiers featuring in this year's T20 World Cup have dimmed, with Cricket South Africa stating that he has decided once and for all that his retirement will remain final. De Villiers retired from all international cricket in May 2018, but has been active in franchise T20 competitions. Last month, when he was playing for the Royal Challengers Bangalore in IPL 2021, it emerged that he was in discussions with South Africa coach Mark Boucher over a possible comeback with a view towards featuring in the T20 World Cup, which is scheduled to be held in October-November in India. That ends Sports News.
My wife always sets a full lunch table, even if it's just the 2 of us. She always expects people to drop by, like maybe the army.
In whatever we do, we Sri Lankans are always thinking of others. When we get Munchie Super Cream Crackers, they're not just for ourselves. Munchie Super Cream Cracker. Super kiyanne nikan neve.
Contributory deposit of ₹1,000 from NSB when your child enters grade 1. Open a Hapan Children's Service account for your kid today. Higher interest. Conditions apply. Business News. Sponsored by National Savings Bank. The safest place for your money.
Sri Lanka's rupee closed with bids at 199.90 levels to the 1-month dollar with no offers, market participants said, while the retail exchange rate was devalued and bond yields were steady. The retail dollar rate for all commercial banks, which is now administratively set, was lowered to 203 to the US dollar from 202 last week. Last Thursday, the rupee closed at 199 to 208 levels to 1 month's dollar. 1-year buy-sell have traded this wheel with the forward leg at a 17 rupee discount, dealers said. That came to you in Business News.
Business News. Sponsored by National Savings Bank. The safest place for your money. Contributory deposit of ₹1,000 from NSB when your child enters grade 1. Open a Hapan Children's Service account for your kid today. Higher interest. Conditions apply.
Economic News. Courtesy of...
I bought my daughter a laptop for her work by managing my finances. Whatever the expenses may be, I can't afford to miss out on life's special moments like her birthday or our anniversary. So you need to invest to make your family's future flourish.
Saving money isn't easy when you have responsibilities. That's why we promise to give you the best returns and guarantee on your investment. LOLC Finance Fixed Deposits. Maximize your savings. LOLC Finance PLC, incorporated on the 13th of December 2001, is rated SLA stable by ICRA Lanka Limited and is licensed by the Monetary Board of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka under the Finance Business Act No. 42 of 2011.
The State Minister of Regional Cooperation has launched a creative economy program with a view towards contributing to the country's economy and promoting Sri Lanka's cultural heritage. The creative economy is a rapidly expanding segment of the global economy and has made a crucial contribution towards generating employment, income and exports. Based on creativity, it encompasses all artistic, innovative and cultural products and services. It is also conducive to sustainable development. Recognizing the contribution that regional cooperation could make towards developing the creative economy in Sri Lanka, the State Minister of Regional Cooperation, Tharaka Balasurya, launched 2 inaugural initiatives under the Creative Economy Program with Indonesia. The initiatives focus on the development of the batik industry in Sri Lanka and the promotion of the country's unique architectural heritage. That ends economic news.
Saving money isn't easy when you have responsibility. That's why we promise to give you the best returns and guarantee on your investment. LOLC Finance Fixed Deposits. Maximize your savings. LOLC Finance PLC, incorporated on the 13th of December 2001, is rated SLA stable by ICRA Lanka Limited and is licensed by the Monetary Board of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka under the Finance Business Act number 42 of 2011.
Weather Report was sponsored by
Dialogue, in partnership with the Ministry of Education, introduces Nanasa, a trilingual educational mobile app with video-based lessons for grade 1 to A-levels. Now your child can study with ease on your mobile with no subscription fee.
And now to conclude the weather report, the Met Department says showers or thunder showers will occur at several places in the central, Sabaragamuwa, Uva, eastern and north central provinces and in the Hambantota and Mullaitivu districts during the evening or night. Fairly heavy falls, about 50 millimeters, can be expected at some places in the central and Uva provinces. A few showers will occur in the western and northern western provinces and in Galle and Mathura districts.
Weather Report was sponsored by
Dialogue, in partnership with the Ministry of Education, introduces Nanasa, a trilingual educational mobile app with video-based lessons for grade 1 to A-levels. Now your child can study with ease on your mobile with no subscription fee.
And now to end this news broadcast, the main points once again. The government stresses that the Colombo Port City Economic Commission Bill could be passed in Parliament with a simple majority. The Prime Minister instructs the authorities to grant housing loans to low-income families. 1,734 persons have tested positive for coronavirus today, increasing the total case load thus far to 146,936. A group was arrested for commemorating the LTTE in the Calcutta beach. 185,000 more Sputnik V vaccines are to be brought to the country next week. And on foreign news, Israel shuts crossings for Gaza aid after attacks. That ends this news broadcast. And now it's back to my friend and colleague Chandima Virakun, as usual on a Tuesday night.